Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 113 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Silence.
Sorry.
Trevor
took a drink of tea and I started choking.
What a way to start out, Trevor.
Way to go.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Now I have to decide whether I'm going to leave that in or not.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I literally took a sip just as we started, and I was like, "This is fine." And then, yeah,
that is one of the more unique ways we've started the show. I like it.
I'm just trying to go through our messenger because I'm searching for that. I had that River Country pic that I sent you guys of me at River Country.
Oh, yeah.
And I need it back because I want it for that project that we're doing for the old school Disney project that I'm working on.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The score your points, the thing we're working on for, what have you done old school Disney style.
Oh, that thing. Yeah.
But I was like, that picture would be perfect. And then I was like, I don't know where. I think I sent it from like the old house. So I was like, I don't know where that is now.
Yeah.
Man, could I even go back that far in Messenger, I wonder?
Probably.
Absolutely,
I would think so.
you can.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is?
Yeah, it's a lot of scrolling. It is a lot of scrolling.
So
I'll probably just do like a search for all the pictures we've ever sent.
Yeah, but where though? I would have sent it in Messenger. You can't do that.
You could search in Messenger.
How?
There's a search bar.
But what would it have been called? I thought that was a typing bar. Where's the search bar you speak of, my friend?
Somewhere. I mean, I've searched through Messenger before.
You're absolutely lying.
I'm not lying. There's a search. Oh, okay. So it's not like right there. You have to go back to like the general chat page, and then there's a search bar.
Wait, what general chat page? What the heck are you talking about?
Like not just our individual chat, just Messenger in general. I'm glad that we're doing this while we're recording the podcast.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know where you're talking about.
Yeah, just like where all your chats are aggregated from everybody. And then there's a
where
search
are all
bar
my
at the top.
chats aggregated?
Under the Messenger app.
Under the Messenger app.
Yeah.
Website.
Oh, you're doing it on the website? Yeah, it's way harder to find the search on the website. I don't know why. But
oh, okay. I'll have to try that then.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it for you too.
Bing, bing, bing. That's your tech tip from the day. and by Mesh Decos. And by Mesh Decos.
There you go. Because that was a Dan question, and I didn't put it on the list because you kind of answered it already. So
yeah, I felt like I kind of had to because, again, that's just, I've seen so many different ones now. And now since I just upgraded mine, which like literally in the past month.
Just upgraded your mesh network in your house?
So what I did for people that care, which they probably don't because this is not a technical show, it's more of a Disney show. But yeah, so what I did is that I was running the AC, so the non-Wi-Fi 6 through my house, and I realized that I could integrate the Wi-Fi 6 X60 decos along with my M5s. So I bought two of them, and what I did is that one of them goes obviously, attached to your router, and then so my base is now a Wi-Fi 6, and then I moved the other one to the second floor where the kids are because we were running into some issues up there with just the amount of devices in our house.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped out. And then the nice thing is that it gave me more M5s to put down the hall. So I put one down the hall as well. So it was a win. I like the ability to upgrade and mesh, different types of, devices.
That makes sense.
See, and I replied back to that. My setup's a little simpler in that I just have 3 floors, and so buying the 3-node Google Mesh, I just have one on each floor.
True, but if you were to purchase again now, since the Mesh doesn't support Wi-Fi 6, right, you might look outside that. But there is an ease of use for sure.
Yeah. I also have the Nest around. I have the Wi-Fi, the Google hubs. Yeah, all around my house. Yeah, so I've got the same. Anyway. So random.
Well, it was a question, so we're making sure we help out our listeners. So
I feel like we need to give Dan his own segment, like the Dan's random question of the week.
Dan.
Yeah, random Dan. Yeah, I like it. Dan should just have his own segment where he asks a random question every week that's not related in any way to Disney. And just we answer it, life questions. So
there is limits on that.
But yeah, there are limits on that. That is very true. But Dan actually has the first question of the episode too, so that's good too. So Dan wants to know, what's a good, not too over the top surprise for my wife on her birthday while we're at Disney World? I'm thinking a custom cake delivered for dinner, but I'm open to other ideas. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's not a bad place to start. I would think that if I was going to do something, I would probably buy her something and have it delivered, something like that. I don't know if we're going for things or events, right? Like it's two separate things. If I was doing a thing, it would, that would be kind of cool. But event wise, I don't know. I feel like
right now.
Yeah.
It's not only that, but I feel like, so when you're on vacation, it almost feels like anything you do is kind of family event. I don't know how you kind of differentiate that birthday event that doesn't just fall under this trip event. Kind of, you know what I'm saying though? Like,
like how do you separate it out from the vacation? Like the overall vacation and make that day special?
Even memory wise, I think that it kind of gets caught up in the whole vacation. So I don't know. For me, I think maybe an item that would bring a different remembrance. Usually what it is that, there's always something that my wife would be like, oh, that's nice, but, right? Like it's either but money, but time, but this, but that. Like, I think I'd go down that path of, I'm sure she's liked a bunch of different things. Like, not that this is necessarily a big thing, but right, the Animator's palette butter knives, like they're cool, right? And like, we ended up getting one when we were on the cruise, but in general, maybe a Disney silverware set or something like that where you go, yeah, I don't necessarily need it, but it would be cool. I think I'd go down that path, personally.
You could also do Disney has that in-house, room delivery service too, like where you could, if you want to go like over the top, like I think they can even like put some like decorations in your room or something like that. I think that there's like packages like that. There's birthday baskets you can get. You could do flowers. There's all sorts of stuff you could do from them. I mean, it's pricey, but you could like, after a day of being at the park on her birthday, walk back in the room, there's, flowers and
then what do you do for the rest of your trip?
Well, no, you just do that for the birthday. That's all.
And then throw the flowers out? Like, I feel like they'd get in my way.
No, they'll come in a vase. And you're not going to bring them home with you. So
I don't know. My room is kind of full of enough stuff as it is that,
like, I'm knocking that vase over with like old underwear. I'm telling you right now, that's what's happening.
What do you mean? Like you're throwing it across the room and you're
but like just as you're kind of putting stuff around. Like, it's not like these rooms are huge. Like, I don't need one more thing that's got water in it that can fall over. And then if you're talking about like cake or chocolates, like I'd rather be at the park doing that. I don't know. That's, like I said, opinion wise, that's my opinion.
Yeah. It is tough to do right now because usually they have like all these classes and tours and all this other stuff that you could.
Tour would be,
would be good. Yeah.
The tour would be good. I would agree. Like, I think that could be something that's a nice differentiator that you may not necessarily do normally.
I guess it depends on when you're going, Dan. Like if if you're going later in the year and stuff is, kind of starting to come back a little bit, maybe, then, maybe you could do something like a surprise tour or, something behind the scenes or, like a class or something. They have like those cake decorating classes. That might be fun. I don't know what your wife's into. It's kind of hard to know, right? Like if she would hate to do that, then that's not a good option. But, I think a custom cake though is a good place to start.
Oh, see, I just look at that and go, okay, custom cake. I'd rather be at the park eating stuff. And like, that just kind of falls into...
Well, like a custom cake after dinner, like your dessert at dinner,
I mean, at a restaurant, you're saying?
Yeah, at a restaurant. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Delivered for dinner. Yeah.
I guess maybe.
Okay, here, as you guys are talking, I've been doing a bit of searching, and I think I got one here, is that you can get horse-drawn carriage rides at Port Orleans and Fort Wilderness.
Are they still doing that right now?
That's a good question. I don't know if it is still active. It seems like something that could still be feasible because it's not...
Yeah.
I think this question has to be answered within, the boundaries of semi-normal Disney, right?
Yeah.
Right. But again, this is the problem is that, you really have to phone Disney and find out what is actually available at the moment, right?
Yeah, because I have no idea if that's still going. That is a great idea, because that my wife and I were supposed to do that on our honeymoon, and ended up not getting to do it because Disney made a mistake. I've told this story before, where they made a mistake, and then with booking us at the wrong time and telling us a different time, and then they made up for it like a lot. But we were supposed to do that. We were excited to do it, and ended up not getting to do it, which was kind of disappointing. But I think that's a really good option if it's still going on. Assuming she would like that kind of thing. I mean, who knows, right? I don't know what her. Oh, I just pulled it up on the website. It says temporarily unavailable.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe that will come back at some point. I don't know. Bummer. Well, that was an idea though, Trevor. It was a good idea.
Yeah. Like I said, the hard part is we all kind of know the stuff that was available in the past, but.
It's hard to keep track of what is available and what isn't available. Like I was even, looking for my April trip. I'm like, okay, what restaurants are open? Like, just trying to figure out where we're going to eat. Cause like our EPCOT day, we're probably not going to book a dinner on our EPCOT day, cause we're just going to do the food festival and we're just going to eat around there all day. But like the other days, I got to find places for us to have dinner, and, I don't know what's open.
Yeah.
So that's something I got to figure out, and it could change within the next couple of weeks, So
exactly. I'm going to throw one more thing out there, and again, I haven't checked if this is actually available. There is also the boats at the Polynesian, the little the zip around boats. Again, depends on how much it's different.
That seems like so much not fun.
Well, again, depends on if
fun.
you're interested in it. It's a tour around the Seven Seas Lagoon, so
yeah.
I mean, again,
a tour around a place I can see all of from a hotel room.
From a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Trevor. They're fun. I've done them before. They're fun. Because you could do like the little individual boats. I think they call them mouse boats, or they used to anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't want to quote the name because I don't remember what they call them right now.
They were the mouse boats at one point. I don't know if they're still called the mouse boats, because they were like, you're talking about like the little individual ones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You can get like 2 people in them, right?
Well, yeah, and then Disney Springs also has that the boats that look like cars. But I've looked at the prices for those before, and they're absurdly expensive.
Yeah, the aqua cars are way too expensive.
You can go up the balloon. You can go into the balloon.
Oh, that's a good call. That's a good one, Damon. Are they still doing that right now?
I don't know, but I'm just talking regular Disney.
Yeah, in regular times. Yeah, no, I think that is going right now, because I feel like I've seen people still posting about that. So. Okay. Yeah, that's a good call, Damon. That'd be fun.
So now that we're talking about Disney Springs, I have to talk about these cookies.
Which cookies?
The stupid Gideon cookies.
Gideon's? Yeah,
I made them twice.
Okay.
Okay, so let me explain. So I made them twice. Actually, all I did is batter split, because I was like, I can't even. I did them with the chocolate chips on the outside, following the recipe exactly. They're terrible. Like
to be fair, it's an imitation recipe. You don't even know that that's their actual recipe. They didn't like put the recipe out there.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter, because the only thing you can taste is chocolate chips, and it's stupid. Like it's dumb. Like I might as well just take a handful of chocolate chips and put them in my mouth. That would be what I would tell you from the recipe. And they look like that as well. So, and here's the kicker about it. It tells you 4 cups of chocolate chips, right?
Yeah. I
was like, nah, that's way too much. So I took and said, all right, I'm going to use, so again, I split batter, right? So I'm only going to use half of that. And it was still way too much. Like way, way too much. So there's no way that on that regular recipe, it's just chocolate chips. So then I said, okay, I got those out of the way. I didn't care for them, whatever. Let me make the next batch. And again, because I had really only put half of the chocolate chips in the dough. And then again, they want you to cover them with like 8 pounds of chocolate, which is, again, seems productive when it's a cookie, not a chocolate bar, but whatever. I made them again, and I cooked them a little bit longer. I wasn't a huge fan. I think that they bake kind of weird. Like they bake, they're a little bit, I love doughy cookies, but they're even more than that. And I even cooked them a little bit longer. I don't know. I wasn't a fan in general. But I would say, Tom, even getting outside of the copycat recipe part, there's just too much chocolate involved in the chocolate chips. Again, that's not me to begin with. And then it's like,
yeah,
it's double or triple what I would be like, wow, that's a lot. Like, it was way over the top. And again, the batter was, a little bit more work, than regular chocolate chip cookie batter. I just didn't think it was worth it. We're going to give them another shot though, because I always like to go first and give them a cook, even though I split batter here, is to give them a few different cooks rather than just one. So I'm going to try some different things. I think that I'm also going to go, it was interesting. There was no vanilla in the recipe at all.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah.
I think that I'm going to try to modify that recipe a little bit.
Throw some vanilla in there.
Yeah, it just, like I said, I think the cook on them is interesting because they're so large. I think the proportion of soft cookie middle is there, but because the actual cookie is so large, it turns into a greater portion. Because, like if you have a chocolate chip cookie in the middle of it, like the middle of a regular sized cookie doesn't necessarily feel or taste like it's fully cooked. That's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But when it's a super large cookie and it's like,
you're just getting a mouth of dough, it feels like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's how they're supposed to be, right? Like, so I was reading their FAQs on their website, and there was something like, my cookie was undercooked, like, and they're like, no, it's cooked. It's just we purposely make it so it's like a cookie dough center. So
yes, and I think because of the cake flour and the bread flour, right, with more gluten in it, that more gluten keeps it that way on purpose. And I would agree. And the problem is like, I started to go, wow, could I bake these even more? Because again, it was too gooey in the center for me when it's that large. And you really can't, because you end up ruining the outside of the cookie. So
yeah.
What I'm going to do is, for everybody, again, for me, because I'm eating them, but for everybody as well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make the batter. I'm going to go with just, like I said, half the chocolate chips. I'm going to then split that batter in half, and then I'm going to cook another one and maybe add a teeny bit of vanilla to it and kind of see how that goes out. And then I'm going to try one where the cookies are a quarter of the size. The second batch, I did half of the size. So originally it said 6 cookies. So I took the first 3 and made 3. And then the second batch, I made 5, not, necessarily double. I think it needs to be 8 out of half. I think the whole batch at 16 instead of 6 may go a little different. So I'll give it a whirl though. But again, I was not impressed. Let me tell you that.
I definitely want to try them when I go down for sure. I want to see what they're like. But yeah, I get, I want to try that recipe too, but just haven't gotten around to baking. So, but that's interesting that you tried it and didn't care for it. But you also don't like a lot of chocolate chips in your stuff. Like I put extra chocolate chips in everything. So
this was too much. But the other interesting thing is this brought up a discussion in the house. So again, right, we had these, and then my daughter said something about chocolate chip cookies, which, I replied, well, I like the ones that I make, right? It's a tweaked recipe. I enjoy it. And I thought that everyone was on board with that. And then my wife said, no, I think I make better chocolate chip cookies. This infuriated me, obviously. And and it's funny because she has the knockoff Grand Floridian recipe, which has powdered sugar in it, in the recipe itself. And she likes those better and was adamant that they were better than my OG original chocolate chip cookies. And I was just stunned. I mean, my daughter obviously stuck up for me, which was good, cause she has tried them both. But I was just floored that anyone would have the audacity to say that, especially in my own household, to be honest with you.
Oh my God. That's pretty funny. These are things that don't go on in my household.
Yeah.
Well, probably because my daughter can't really bake and my wife doesn't really care to. So,
yeah, anyway. We only have one baker in our house, so these conversations don't happen either. But I do appreciate the fact that you're dissecting the Gideon's cookies, Damon. Like it's interesting because, for those of us who can't get down there to try them, it's something to think about. And then, maybe I don't want to say maybe the cookies are too much hype, but maybe they are. And somebody's going to kill me for that.
Sometimes it's, like I said, things can be overwhelming in a cookie.
Yeah.
And the chocolate is just overwhelming. Like, even if you go like Ghirardelli morsels, right? Even if you make your morsels super high quality, I felt like all I was eating was chocolate. Like, that's all that I could taste. And that's where I just had a little bit of a problem with it. And I went half. I halved the chocolate chips and I still felt that way.
Well, and not all of their cookies are covered in chocolate chips. They do have other kinds of cookies. So, like, they have one that's a coffee cake one. I'm like, sign me up for that. I want a coffee cake cookie. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I would be on board for a peanut butter. But again, that middle is tough. It's that, like I said, the gluten-y. I like the science of baking as well. And again, I get the cake flour and the bread flour, kind of giving it that gooey center. There's still eggs in it, though, mind you. So you still got to cook it, but at the end of the day, it definitely stays a little more chewy in the middle.
Yeah, no, I see. I like that. I like a good, like, doughy cookie. You
do until it's the size of your head, and then it becomes a problem.
That's funny.
I'll propose, it's always nice to, scrape the bowl for the cookie batter, but if you just eat the cookie batter, like,
I wish there was a way that there could be a welcome home chocolate chip cookie off. And you just it was kind of like one of those things where you just had to send one cookie to somebody. And then there was some sort of cookie chain. And then you got 12 chocolate chip cookies from all different welcome home people. And there was a taste off.
Interesting. You're talking about from listeners sending them to us?
Yeah. And then us sending out as well. I mean, Trevor's wife makes good chocolate chip cookies as well. I think that would be an interesting
you've
take.
Never had my chocolate chip cookies either. So
you said no one in your house really bakes.
Oh, I bake. No, I like to bake.
I don't really. Yeah. I'm not on board with your taste palette, Tom. So not to say that other people would be.
Cookies. I think you'd like one. They're not. I don't think they're overly done. I think the problem you would have is I use milk chocolate chips, which are a little bit kind of sweeter and it could be a little overpowering. So
I think it might be. I just think the problem is that the mailing of it is just too cost prohibitive to do such a thing. I mean,
that's true.
We'd all have to spend $100 to accomplish it.
Yeah, sorry for being international. That makes it.
Well, yeah, that's the other problem is we'd mail something to Trevor now and he'd get it in April. So
exactly.
That's the other thing. They'd be very stale by the time I get them.
Yeah, although the stuff you sent us over the holidays,
it came out fine.
Yeah, there was
that's because we didn't just send stuff to you guys. I had some other friends actually in South Carolina. Believe it or not, I have.
That's funny.
I have a bunch of other people that I know down there for totally unrelated reasons to this podcast, but I sent out a bunch of those boxes. So we kind of, it was a one-time thing that, made the cost a little bit easier to handle.
Yeah. I gotcha. That makes sense.
All right. So totally back on track. Design a 4-day resort only stay itinerary. I don't know what this means. Where I'm staying or what I'm doing.
What you're staying and what you're doing. So where would you stay? If you were going to do a resort only stay, where would you stay? And then what would you do?
4 days resort only. Could I spend 4 days only at a resort?
I definitely could.
Hilton Head or
no, they were off the table.
Arrow.
Don't try to put them back on.
Okay, there's no rule in there that says I can't use those. What?
Yes, that you're defeating the purpose of the question. I would say the only caveat I would have here is it resort only or is Disney Springs on the table?
That was my question. Is it just saying no parks or?
No, let's say no parks, no Disney Springs, no Hilton Head, no Vero.
What about Aulani? Is Aulani?
No.
Okay, Aulani's out too.
Aulani's out too. I'm gonna say that I would want to stay at beach and yacht, right, for the pool.
Yeah.
Right? You almost have to. I don't know what other answer there is outside of that if it's 4 days and you're really only talking about the pool.
Well, so is boardwalk inbounds then? Can you walk around the boardwalk, go to the bar there, go to the places there?
Yeah, but I think we're limiting this to you're in jail. You're in Disney jail.
You're quarantined at the resort.
Is it only your resort or can you resort hop?
No, you're resort only.
Whoa.
Yeah, you got to go 4 days, one resort. I think it's go beach and yacht.
Can I go mini golfing?
Can what, Trevor?
Can I go mini golfing?
No.
Not resort only.
Do you know what the word only means?
Well, but from Yacht and Beach Club, it's pretty quick to get over to the Fantasyland.
Nope, can't do it. Nope.
Only. But what if he's saying it's Swan and Dolphin though? That's kind of part of Swan and Dolphin, right?
But then why are you staying at Swan and Dolphin?
Well, okay, but I'm just saying, the mini golf course is pretty much kind of. It's not really part of it, but it's
not.
Basically,
it's not. That doesn't count. So you got to eat there, you got to stay there, you got to pool there.
But that's also, I wouldn't spend 4 days playing mini golf either.
Yeah, so it's 4 day, one resort, stay there for everything.
Here's another question.
Boardwalk is tough though, Tom.
Yeah, it is. But okay, let me ask this: Does Animal Kingdom count? Lodge count as? Can you only stay in Jumbo House or only stay in Kidani, or do you consider that one?
No, that's all one resort.
Okay. So I go Animal Kingdom Lodge then, because there's plenty of places to eat there.
Oh, I might go Saratoga tree houses then.
Oh, that's good.
Because I love Saratoga, and there's a lot of different pools, and the workout area is really nice, and there's a lot of walking. Now, here's the other question: can I golf? That's at the resort.
It is at the resort, so I think that's a yes.
But I'm Saratoga. I'm changing to Saratoga.
If I can't mini golf, why can you golf?
No, because Saratoga Springs and Golf Resort. It's not.
It's part of the resort.
It's part of the resort. Like when I can go out of the room and step onto the actual fairway, that is part of the resort.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I stayed at Old Key's the same way, because when I stayed at Old Key, like one of the holes was like literally next to my balcony, which I didn't really love when I woke up in the morning seeing people like 50 feet from me, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm going Saratoga then.
Yeah, I'm going Animal Kingdom. I just
don't like the food there enough. So
at Animal Kingdom, yeah. See, like if you like the food, like that's a good choice because you could just sit there and watch animals. They got good pools. There's food options. Like there's a lot going on there that you could just do. And actually, a good option here probably would be like Fort Wilderness too, because you could like do a lot of woodsy stuff.
I can eat s'mores all day. Yeah, Fort Wilderness would be.
You could do the ride bikes. You could do the Surrey bikes. You could do like that's all one big thing there. So
so we kind of missed on the whole itinerary part. Like we're talking about resorts and where would be good to stay that you could survive for 4 days without being bored out of your head, but like what would you do?
What do you mean itinerary? Okay, so what I would do is I'd get up, I'd work out or walk around Saratoga Springs, I'd go to the pool, I'd eat, I would golf on the days that I'm golfing, I would go to the pool, I would eat, and I'd come back. I don't know what else I'm doing.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, see, at Animal Kingdom, I'm eating, going to the pool, and watching animals. That's literally all I'm going to do.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
There's only so much you can do, right? All right, but where's yours, Trevor? Did you say yours?
Well,
he wants to say Poly, but he knows he really shouldn't because there's not a lot to do there.
I can't. Well, there is it can go to the pool. We can rent the boats. We can.
You can watch fireworks at night if
there's fireworks.
I could just get on the monorail and ride it around the resort loop. Yeah, watch the fireworks.
Cannot.
Why not?
Damon's saying no to that.
The monorail stops at the resort, so it's in the resort.
It's part of the resort.
But you're not at the resort. Then you are out of the resort.
You're leaving containment.
Yeah, you're sorry, man. Can't do it.
Really?
But can't do it. Resort only. That doesn't say resort only and Trevor's monorail trip. It says resort only.
But can
then he'll get off at the TTC and walk back.
I was gonna say, is he allowed to rent a boat and go on the lake?
Yes, I would say so.
I think that's part of it. Yeah,
I would say the lake could be part of it. Yeah, the monorail is not though. Well, you know why? Because the monorail stops at other resorts. Now, Trevor, you're saying you're going to take the monorail?
Just to loop all the way around and come back to the park.
Nah, can't do it, man. Can't do it. I'm going to say that's a no-go on that. Sorry. That's not resort only.
I feel like you're going to get sick from Dole Whips though. On the
he does have access to unlimited Dole Whips.
Yeah, unlimited Dole Whips. Yeah,
I absolutely take advantage of that when we're there. And no, I've yet to get sick of them, even when I stop for one on the way back to the room after we've been out all day. That 9 p.m. Dole Whip is amazing.
Did you see that there's a watermelon Dole Whip floating around? I'm all about that. Give me a watermelon.
So I love watermelon when it's real watermelon. Oh, that's not even true. Because you know what, Tom? I would say the watermelon roll at Friendly's.
Oh, yeah.
Still on point. Still on point.
Such a regional reference.
It is such a regional reference. But so, Trevor, it's watermelon ice cream with chocolate chips as seeds and a lemon sorbet rind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. I remember that too.
No, I can see where that works.
Is Friendly still around? Is that even a thing still?
I believe it is.
Okay.
There is still one in my old stomping grounds.
Damon, I had this is really off topic, but I had this conversation with my wife. I bought some Ilios pizza the other day, the frozen Ilios pizza, and then I found out
the rectangle, right?
Yeah. I found out that's only like a New York, New Jersey thing. I don't know how I found it down here, but that apparently funny. It's only I just thought that everybody knew of Ilios pizza, but apparently Ilios pizza is only in like the Northeast. So Who knew?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like rectangle pizza you'd get at like middle school.
Yeah, it's like hot garbage pizza, but it's like it's what you would eat when you were a kid. Like it was a cheese pizza frozen in like a
like the
a
hot
square.
pocket of pizzas.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't good, like, but it was just something from your childhood.
I don't think it was bad though.
No, it wasn't terrible, but it was.
I mean, when your choices were that and mac and cheese, like that was a step up for sure.
Yeah. But like you can buy it frozen and like, you know, and make it and stuff like that. But I saw it at the grocery store and I'm like, oh, Elios, all right. Like this is cool. Yeah, anyway, sorry.
All right. So let's see. What do you enjoy to do in your free time? This is from Jody. I don't know. I mean, I watch a lot of kids' sports. I mountain bike, work on websites.
I feel like you're kind of listening to my free time right now. This is pretty much what I do during my free time.
I know those are my free time things. I watch a lot of like kid sports though. I didn't spend a lot of time with my kids. Honestly, I spend a lot of time with my kids. All right, because I'm either baking with them, doing sports with them, watching them do sports, taking them to do sports. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would say. And mountain bike with them.
Yeah, I mean, my weekends are, you know, pretty much spent with my daughter the whole time, and then doing this and doing all the things related to this. You know, there's it might not seem like it, but there is a lot of work that goes into the show every week. So I do spend a lot of my free time doing this, which is fine because I enjoy it. But you know, I do this, and you know, I like playing stupid video games sometimes too. You know.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Recently I have been playing a fair amount of League of Legends again. And watching a lot of the spring championships.
Yeah. I can't watch League of Legends. It makes me angry.
Why does it make you angry?
I don't know. I have a weird love-hate thing with competitive games that it brings out the ugly side in me.
Oh, it is.
I don't like that.
It's so, and I'm going to tell you, the game is so toxic. It's like hurtful.
Yeah, I know.
Like I would like to go play and like I like it's so hard to not be toxic back. Like, okay, we're losing this game. Wait a second. I'm playing support and I'm 1-0-20 and you're mad at me? Like, come on, man. Like it's a very toxic environment. It's difficult to play in general. So I would agree with you there. It's probably the most toxic online experience ever. But I enjoy the game an awful lot. So
yeah, I play a lot of other games. I actually have. So yeah, obviously my big hobby outside of this is playing video games. But I tend to gravitate towards MMOs or just, you know, single player games. Like we plow through the Resident Evil games. Mm-hmm. Quite regularly. Like me and my wife play them, and I'm starting to get my son into them because he's hitting that age where he's old enough to handle it. And and then also like me and my son, you know, you talk about spending time with your kids. Me and my son spend a lot of time playing games together. Like we got a VR headset over Christmas, and we've been spending time learning all the fun ways to make use of that. So. Yeah. And
it's funny because I used to play MMOs for a while, right back when I had way more time. But the problem that I have with that is that I was in EverQuest beta, and nothing is ever as good as that. Like, being able to play with Brad and all his friends, and like having such a great time in EverQuest, it was such a new thing, and it was so like out of left field because there was like the internet wasn't like really around, so kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. This is Dungeons and Dragons incarnate. And after playing that, I didn't, it was a hard game. And talk about competitive, like when your character died, you lost like hours and hours of your life. There was definitely this thrill about it that World of Warcraft did not bring because it was a little bit easier. And then the EverQuest people tried to make Vanguard, which would have been awesome. And then money fell through. So kind of was soured on MMOs after that because that was so good. And I actually have like real friends, like come visit me friends from that game.
And like, that's similarly, so for me, the MMO that stuck for me was Guild Wars 2. And that's actually spawned a lot of my real life, friendships. And you know, some of the people that I was talking about that I sent stuff to over Christmas are actually friends that I made from playing MMOs together. So so it evolved beyond, you know, just playing the game, that we actually like, you know each other. We've met up. I've seen some of them get married. Like it's, yeah, so yeah, for me, MMOs kind of, they hold that social part. It's not so much about the game. It's that there's been friendships formed from them. But then I also know what you're saying is, some of the older ones, it's hard to get over the rose colored glasses of how, everything was when it first started.
Yeah.
But,
Tom, don't you dare take those questions out.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Tom was highlighting questions to take out. All right, we're going to let you talk, Tom, and then we're going to speed round the next three. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
I already said mine. I'm good.
Okay,
so,
all right,
yeah.
good. So, all right, here's the next one. So, Lee gives us Zootopia Land. Should it be added to Animal Kingdom or not? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I could get on board with that. Yep.
I'm down for this if they do it the right way. Like, if they try to squeeze it into where DinoLand is, absolutely not. Like, they need this to be a pretty large land, I feel like. So I'm a yes if they do it right.
Okay. And Trevor was a yes, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Easy
What is your favorite Disney snack? I can't even answer that. There's too many of them. I'm just going to let that one go.
Nutella waffle. Dole Whip. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Have you ever walked a reservation? No.
Nope.
Okay. This is a big one. I almost feel like we're going to save. Should we save Chrissy's question?
For when?
Yeah. We're at 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Because this is going to get there's a lot I could say about that.
So, I mean, specifically, she says what are the thoughts on festival experiences will be like in the future, but she's
next few years. That's a big question,
right? But she's specifically talking about EPCOT and food and wine. I honestly don't see food and wine changing as much as you think it will.
Me either. Yeah.
Because it's actually the easiest thing for them to implement, even with all the COVID restrictions in place.
Well, yeah, because it's a walk up and walk out.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah,
I see it actually getting stronger over the years.
Well, and I think what, one of the things that is part of this, the reason they do the festivals are to pull people into the parks. I mean, so they're going to need that in the next couple of years here. They're going to need things like this to pull people into the parks, especially Epcot. So I especially during the down times, the slower times, they need these festivals for that. So, I mean, I think if anything, they're going to stay the same. I don't think they're going to get cut back at all. I think these events are big moneymakers for them. I think they're a great way to pull people in and great way to make some extra money. So I don't know. I don't see them going away.
Yeah, the only thing I see changing is, the whole thing was the reimagining of Epcot was there was supposed to be an entire festival area, right? And they haven't
pulled back.
Yeah, they haven't canceled, but they pulled back on it. So I think you still may see kind of closer to what we have now in terms of, the booths around World Showcase and that kind of stuff. It may be a little while before. Though. Yeah. But I think weirdly, I think before COVID, it was going to change more than you would think. If that makes sense.
I think even with the festival center, though, I think they were just going to use the festival center for like the events that they do during some of those things, right? Like I still think they were going to have the model of the booths around the world, like because they can't fit all of those booths into that one festival center that they were building. I think that was more for like some of like the like they do cooking demonstrations or like. During the Flower Garden, they have certain things. During the Arts Festival, they do like, drawing and like I think that's what that was going to be for. And they were still going to have the booths everywhere. That's what I thought anyway, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I think, yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that. So.
All right, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, I don't know. Because that festival center was, big, but I don't think it was big enough to put all that stuff in there, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess if they weren't doing anything else, you're right. I wasn't thinking about, them doing additional things on top of the booths, right? So
yeah, because they do a lot of those demos and stuff like that. So
yeah, let's
do our ad. Okay. Unless we want to say anything else about this.
No. What do we got this week? Is it?
Skip down. We got to skip down.
DVC Rental Store. All right. DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at an incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at time of booking and built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. As always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT, and please let them know that Welcome Home sent you. Again, that's dvcrentalstore.com or 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368.
So we got through all of our questions, and the questions were pretty much the whole episode this time.
Yeah.
You know, there are often times where I put this outline together and I fret that there's not enough stuff for us to talk about, and then we just go on a rant for 40 minutes about questions and on tangents. So, you know.
You can never account for the rabbit hole.
I really can't. I can never account for that, and I don't know why I even worry about it at this point. Because
I don't know why you worry either. I think that's just silly. You could put one thing up there. We could talk for an hour.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So we actually have some DVC news. Riviera and Aulani seeing direct price increases.
Yep.
Yes. Well, by the time they listen to this, 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days.
Saturday.
So they're going up. Riviera $6 and Aulani $8 per point.
Yeah, they're just making them the same at $201 per point.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, even though, yes, I mean, you got some notes here that even though sales are struggling for Aulani, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, things are going up. And what's interesting, again, my take is that people have a fair amount of money to do things with since they're not vacationing as much. So, again, this makes sense in general. I don't see this as even, this is newsworthy, but not news disgusting.
But not a big deal. Yeah.
No, I mean, if it's your first contract, you're talking about, $600 or $800 more at 100 points.
I mean, it's not a small amount when you look at it in that way, but yeah, it is a decent size increase. But for Aulani, I feel like it's kind of weird just because it's been open for 10 years and they're still not sold out. And it's like, you'd think that they would lower prices so they'll sell out, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that it does highlight something about, there has always been the discussion about, well, what if they opened up DVC resorts elsewhere? And I think Aulani is kind of showing that that's not always the best idea.
It's too hard to get there, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's too expensive to get there.
Going to Hawaii is really not honestly, it's really low down my list of places I want to go because it's expensive. It's a long flight.
If you were going to ask me if I would rather go there or cruise, I think I'd rather cruise, and I think that the price points are similar.
Yeah.
Well, also, Aulani points in the system really kind of messes things up too, because, you have all these Aulani points in the system that people are using to go to Disney World or go to Disneyland, and that,
and people aren't going there.
And not going to Aulani. Yeah. So it kind of messes up the rest of the system, Don't get me wrong. It's cool that they have Aulani. I definitely want to go there someday. But like you guys said, I mean, it's expensive to go there in general. Not just Hawaii in general is expensive. And it's a long, I mean, especially for Damon and I mean, that's a crazy long flight. I mean, several flights to get there. Mm-hmm. So, it's just.
I'd rather cruise, I think. I think the problem becomes is that when there's other options, right, it becomes personal and, at that same price point, it's just cruising. So. All right, let's see. So there's. I want to get to cruising, which is at the end. So I got to get through all this other stuff.
Cruising at the end? Oh yeah, that's right. I put that on there for you.
Yeah, thank you. So Disney is testing some compostable cups, cutlery, and more at Animal Kingdom. I kind of thought they already had this, and again when I went back and said, oh, they really don't. It's just they have straws. I guess that's
they have paper straws. Yeah,
the straws made me feel like everything there was, but it was not. So I'm more curious about what sort of. Is it going to be a corn-based thing? What's it going to be made out of?
There's a picture in the article I sent you guys of one of them, and it looks like a pretty sturdy spoon. It doesn't, it doesn't look like one that's because sometimes with the compostable stuff, you don't get sturdy stuff. It's flimsy or it doesn't work very well. And the one they're showing in this picture, it looks like a decent piece of silverware from what I can tell.
We get this kind of silverware from fast food places around here. Like a lot of them have moved to these
that's cool.
compostable things. Yeah. So
are they a corn-based, food-based, or just a compostable sort of thing?
So it just says compostable. Honestly, I haven't looked at them too much to figure out what exactly it is. In terms of the feel of it, it is definitely sturdy. Like they don't dissolve as you're using them or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like I said, at least around here, I'm seeing that more and more. So I'm kind of equating to, in my local area, I'm like, well, that already makes sense. So when I see them putting this in Disney, I'm like, wait, you mean that's not already there? Like, why?
Yeah, that's how I felt, especially at Animal Kingdom. Well, hopefully this goes well and gets in there, and we can move this everywhere after it starts at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, sorry, Trevor.
I was going to say, I also like the fact that they're going to the blue, green, and black bins, because that also lines up with, at least our local recycling programs. That's how they work is, they're color coded. So it, makes sense from that end, but also, getting people to actually separate their trash, I think is a good thing.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it's funny because when they switched to the paper straws, everybody was like, oh, these paper straws are awful. And I remember seeing people like posting stuff about, oh, they should use these bamboo ones or whatever. And it's like that sounds great and all, right? But there also has to be a supply for that. Like, I forget what the number was, but it's an absurd amount of straws that Disney World goes through every year. It's like 100 million or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and so like they can't just like, okay, here's this startup making these bamboo straws. That doesn't mean that company can make 100 million a year for Disney, So like that's probably part of the reason why they do this. It's probably because now some bigger companies are starting to put together these kinds of things and can reliably supply them to Disney. And but I think this is great. This is great, especially at Animal Kingdom, where the whole message there is conservation and taking care of the earth and that kind of stuff. I really like that's something they're doing, and Disney's really good about this kind of stuff. They have environmental goals, and half the parks are powered by solar these days. So I mean, it's pretty much in line with that stuff. Because I always find it funny though too when they do stuff like this. People go, "Oh, they're starting to cheap out," and it's like, well, no, actually, the paper straws cost more than the plastic ones, and these probably cost more than the paper ones. So I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's a good thing for them to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just want to see them, Animal Kingdom is kind of like their test bed for anything environmentally friendly. I would really like to see it expand beyond that, right? Like you don't hear about it in the other parks. I know it comes eventually, but yeah, it would be nice if they were a little more aggressive, I guess would be the right term about it.
I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's in this article, but I think I read somewhere that Disney as a company is trying to get to like net zero landfill waste by like 2025 or something, or 2030. Yeah. And so this probably plays into that. I forget where I read that, but it's something that there is a goal of theirs to get to net zero as far as like their landfill use goes. So this has got to kind of fall into that, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, go ahead.
So the key to the world card designs, I totally forgot that you could even get cards.
That these even existed? Yeah, I kind of didn't even think that they were giving these out anymore because we've had Magic Bands, so...
Well, they do, because, there's people that show up that, we're all used to being on site, and yeah, that comes with Magic Bands. But, I mean, these look nice. I mean, it's the, classic, the 6, what do they call them? The Sensational 6, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Sensational 6. Yeah, you made me think there for a second.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see some people being mad that it's the new designs, but I feel like with the close-ups, like you can't really tell that much. I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Goofy.
Yeah, Goofy's always a problem.
Goofy's always the problem with the new ones, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of them look good, I think. So, yeah, this is good. I mean, like, you're probably going to see a lot more of these now. It makes sense that they're doing this since they are, phasing out free Magic. But, well, they didn't phase out free. They already did it, right? They're already gone. So with those going away, you're going to see more of these cards.
Yeah, I still don't care. I'll still have my magic bands. So
Me too.
I'll never get one of these.
It's so funny though. I said to my wife yesterday, I was like, "So, do you know where our magic bands are from the last trip?" Like, because I bought a DVC one, and she has the Figment one, and I was like, "Do you know what we did with those?" And she's like, "I have no idea where they are." So
you don't keep them with your luggage?
I think that's where they probably are. They're probably in a bag that like we used in the
I have a drawer.
Yeah, you know, or like the junk drawer. Like sometimes they end up in the junk drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, we just got to look for them. Like I'm sure they're somewhere, but they might be in like, you know, like one of the the backpacks that we would take to the parks that we just never emptied for whatever reason. You know, like I'm sure everybody has that kind of experience. But I said to my wife, I was like, "Do you know where they are?" And she's like, "No, I have no idea." So we got to find those. But yeah. Anyway. So did you guys watch this video of the Liberty Bell going across the? I just thought it was kind of cool. No, don't care.
Yeah,
Nope.
I watched it, but yeah, it was, I don't know.
I just thought it was kind of cool to see a boat that you don't see actual in like, you know, off a track, basically, you know, going through past the resorts and past everything. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that, you know, I knew they had that back canal that they used to bring it in. Yeah, I guess in my head I thought it would have been more interesting, but it just wasn't for whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
thought it was cool.
It sounded better on paper.
Man, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was. I mean, it looked like a massive undertaking to make it happen too. Like there were a ton of people. It says 100 cast members had to make this happen. So yeah, that's crazy.
No, I'm not taking away from that. I just didn't think it was that interesting to watch, was all.
Fair enough. I guess I'm the only one that enjoyed it. But, okay, so Damon, you want to talk about this cruise thing?
I mean, I don't really want to talk about it, but sure. So all they're saying is that cruises may be abruptly ended, you know, mid-cruise. And it's just, it's brutal because cruises are expensive. Mid-cruise ending of a cruise is tough. I think that I'm not going to see a cruise until like 2023. And like I said, we were looking to do it for my son's graduation, which would be next year. I just don't think that's going to happen. This is difficult because what they're saying is that, you know, not only is there suspensions until April currently, right? And then some of them are until May, but they're saying that, you know, your cruise may abruptly be ended. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot to talk about, but it's tough because I love cruising.
Well, yeah, so
go ahead, Trevor.
Sorry, I was going to say, like, so you're planning to go in like 2022, right?
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to be ready for cruising at that point. There's two things to think about. One, we'll be ready for cruising, and then two, all the people that had current bookings are going to have most of the cruises booked out for 2022 anyway, is my guess.
Oh, so you're not just thinking about because I was going to say if they remove this policy, you know, in the next year, it could be doable. But then what you're saying is that even regardless of that, the cruises will be overbooked here for the next year. Anyway.
I think that there's a few things that are going into this, and it's difficult because that was definitely a graduation present thing. But I think we'll just move it to hey, you're home from freshman year of college. Nice to see you. Let's go on a cruise. We'll do something along those lines.
Yeah, it's you're just thinking there's going to be pent up demand or pent up But
think about it, people already have cruises booked. So
no, that's totally true. Yeah, and then they keep getting canceled or rescheduled. Yeah, it's true.
You know, I'm just going to say it now. Is, you know, I'm just itching to like go to the pool, let alone, you know, go on a cruise or anything like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of pent up, you know, people wanting to go and do things that's going to come out here in the next year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. So what have you spent your money on because we haven't vacationed?
Other stuff.
I bought more video games than I should have, probably.
But I bought another contract over last year, so that's probably what I spent my money on. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't spent any money on vacations that, you know, have extra money floating around, and not everybody, obviously.
The money that I had for my vacation is still dedicated to my vacation. So I I moved my vacation to October of this year, which is still up in the air. It's looking like a no right now with the current way travel restrictions are and everything. But if, I mean, I'm just basically taking that money and rolling it over, which, yeah, you're right, is, I'm still have other money in addition to that like right now it's not going towards saving for vacations. It's, like I said, I've been buying video games and stuff because honestly,
Did you
there's
do
not
renovation
much
in your house too?
Yeah, well, we just did a big renovation back in 2019, so there's nothing else for me to spend that kind of money on in the moment.
I almost just wanted to like reveal the gift that you're going to get. Our little gift thing that we're doing. And Damon got his animation cell. Did everybody see that? Go look at the Facebook page and see Damon's gift.
Do you want to wait until I can get pictures of this thing whenever it shows up?
Oh yeah, we gotta wait.
I think we should wait. It's going to be a while though.
I am excited for it. I will admit I and actually I forgot to say this is when you showed that to me, Tom, I didn't realize I needed it until you showed it to me. And then I was
I didn't realize I needed a cell either. So, I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah. Cause I was thinking about it and it was like, it was just one of those things where it was like, I wasn't even considering it. And then it was like, yeah, I actually do need that in my house.
It's so funny because I saw it. I just kind of was like looking in this place on a lark and I was looking around and I was like, I wonder what I can find in this particular category of things. And then that just popped up and I immediately saw it and I was like, oh, I need to send this to Trevor. I think Trevor's going to want this. Hit it out of the park on the first go.
That was an easy win for sure.
Yeah, that was an easy win. But Damon's cell is very cool too. I really like that cell. So.
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, go on Facebook because Damon got a DuckTales. It's from the original DuckTales, right? It was, because they don't do cells for the new one.
They don't do cells anymore, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do cells for the new one. So was it like 1987?
87, yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool looking. So anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's over 20 years old. That's crazy.
Oh, more than that.
They're 30 years old, yeah. Over 30. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
where did the last 10 years go?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure where they went. So All right, so the last thing we have on here is reckless speculation. Bringing back one of my favorites. I feel like I need to have like an opening sound for reckless speculation. Like I need to have like a, I don't know. I always think of like guitar music, like a heavy metal, like throwing. It's like
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, like reckless speculation, like because they're just being reckless, and I don't know. Anyway. So, Disney World filed a permit for a construction permit. It was just a open-ended construction permit, at Primeval Whirl. But this article is speculating that this isn't to fix this ride, it's to demolish it. And I kind of tend to agree. I think Disney's done with Primeval Whirl. I think it's done for. I think they're going to dismantle it and get rid of it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this. I like DinoLand and I definitely enjoyed Primeval Whirl. I'm glad that I got to take my son on it, but I can see where they're definitely wanting to go a different direction with DinoLand in general. So,
well, I guess the question is this the beginning? So like, let's say they are going to dismantle Primeval Whirl. Is this the beginning of the end for DinoLand? Like, is this the beginning of the end for that whole land? And then, at that point, do we think that they're going to tear all this down and then announce, I don't know, whatever it's going to be, maybe they're going to do Zootopia like we were talking about. But like I said, if they try to squish it in that small area, I think it's not going to be good.
So let me say this for the amount of space that Primeval Whirl takes up. If they were just going to rip it out and leave that space open, they're not going to rip it out and leave that space open. What would they put in there?
There's not really much else they can put in. It's not a huge space, which is probably why they put that ride in there in the first place. Cause that was like an off the shelf, wild mouse ride that you can see at like a carnival. Like it's a very compact, fits in a very small area. And so, I think that's why they put it there in the first place. They just had this little corner over there, and they were like, well, what can we put there? Oh, we can do a Wild Mouse coaster. Okay, we'll just throw this over there. Like, what else could they put there? More arcade games? Like, more boardwalk games, I guess?
Yeah. Again, so then DinoLand turns into, you have what? You have Dinosaur, and then you have the
Triceratops spin.
Yeah. Which
Dumbo with a Triceratops.
Yeah, as a land, that doesn't really work. Like,
it's not really land anymore.
Yeah, it's a carnival ride and the less better version of Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
right.
But I like Dinosaur. I'd be really sad
I like Dinosaur too, but Indiana Jones is better, and you're not going to change my mind because you haven't ridden Indiana Jones.
I'd be really sad to see Dinosaur go. I would be. But, listen, I haven't been on Indiana Jones, but I have watched videos of it. And from what I can tell, it does look way better than Dinosaur. It looks like there's way more effects. I mean, Dinosaur is just basically all in the dark. And, occasionally a light lights up and you see a dinosaur, and that's great. But yeah, Indiana Jones does seem like a lot better of a ride. Listen, I wouldn't be opposed to if they wanted to clone that ride from Disneyland, I'm okay with it. Bring it over. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's definitely doable in the, going from DinoLand USA. It's funny when you think about it because it's connected to Asia, but when you it's really disconnected.
It's very disconnected. Yeah.
It's very jarring going from the Asia atmosphere to DinoLand.
DinoLand does actually even feel more out of place than Pandora does. Pandora feels like it's in the right place in Animal Kingdom, and I initially didn't think it was going to, but then when I went there I was like, oh, okay, this kind of fits into Animal Kingdom. Then you go to DinoLand, and DinoLand just kind of just doesn't fit, right? It's just it just stands out, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it's what I equate it to is remember how they had the Honey I Shrunk the Kids area in Hollywood Studios? Yeah, I feel like it's of that same vein. Like they were, because it was built around the same time, wasn't it? Or
that's a good question.
I'm probably wrong on that, but
it's probably a little earlier.
But it's still that same kind of feeling. Like if you think about it, that I want to say mid '90s kind of thing, where it was like they had the jungle gym type area. They had obviously they used the cheap rides there. And I feel like, I've talked about the theming of DinoLand USA in the past, and that there is a story there, and it's legitimate in that, they were trying to clone, cheap midway rides as a theme. Yeah. But I think somewhere in the back, they were also looking at going, hey, we can get away with this because, story and this and that, but really it doesn't work. And people know that, right? It's seen as the kiddie area in Animal Kingdom, which, Animal Kingdom doesn't really need a kiddie area.
Yeah, because the whole place is, it's not the whole place is for kids, but with all the animals and everything.
It's like a zoo, right?
Exactly.
You don't go to the zoo and expect there to be a space specific for the kids. The whole zoo is there for kids and adults alike, right? So
yeah, and so just for reference, to go back to what you were saying, the movie set thing was open in 1990, which I'm actually shocked that this was closed in 2016. It feels like it was way longer ago that it closed. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it was there still 5 years ago, but it was. So and then what? Animal Kingdom was 99 that opened, I think.
Okay, so yeah, but still in that same era, and also this was also Animal Kingdom opened, California Adventure was also
98
coming, that same time, and so it's all of that same era where unfortunately, when California Adventure opened, it was really bad. There was a lot of bad things in there, and I feel like Animal Kingdom definitely did better because that they had. Better, I feel a better Imagineer working on it, but the DinoLand part feels like they kind of were they were like, well, we need a kiddie area, and they kind of went, I don't know, let's do this, right?
You know what though? I've said this before. I like DinoLand. I think it has a cool backstory. If you know the backstory, I think it's a fun backstory, and that backstory intrinsically makes it look cheap and bad, right?
Yeah.
But now, given maybe they made the backstory that way because they didn't have any money for it and needed to make it look cheap. So, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I think it makes it. I think it's more that they like ran out of money and they needed something a cheap thing to fill that area, and that's what they did. Not that Dinosaur was cheap though. I'm sure Dinosaur was not a cheap ride.
Well, but again, Dinosaur was a clone. Like.
Yeah,
It wasn't a new invention. It was they literally took an already established ride because Indy came out long before that, and they cloned it. So again, in the sense of saving money, is that they went, hey, we don't have to do the same level of design that we would have to on like a brand new attraction. It was a retheme of an existing attraction, and then using a bunch of theme park type rides and filling them in a space, and then, calling it DinoLand USA. Again, I'm saying all this, so, don't get me wrong. I still appreciate the storytelling and the effort that they put into that side of it, but it did feel like it was a little more shoehorned in, as,
Sure.
They were given like, here's what the park is going to be, make a story for it, not what's the story, let's build a park, right?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. Like, if they do just disassemble it and then leave it there. I mean, it is kind of one of those hard things for them to just leave there because it's, it hasn't been open. So, like, and Disney does this sometimes. Like, they can leave Stitch closed and have nobody know because they just take down all the signs and there's just an empty building there and no one would really know. But this is just out in the open,
Yeah, a building face is one thing because, like you said, it's very easy for them to kind of, close off a building and it just cuts it off, right? Like you said, this is an entire structure. It's wide out in the open. If they don't remove it, it just starts to look like a derelict old roller coaster. And then maybe we have haunted DinoLand USA, right?
Oh, haunted DinoLand. Oh man. New hotel.
Right next to haunted River Country, right?
Oh man, that's a great idea. Haunted DinoLand. That'd actually be super creepy.
Unfortunately, so Damon had to drop off because he had to go deal with a car issue, I guess. So he's going to come back next week and be like, what are you guys talking about?
What are you guys talking about? Haunted DinoLand, yeah.
So
you need to get like a graphic designer to make shirts of Haunted River Country and Haunted DinoLand now.
I was thinking about that is, if DinoLand goes away, we need to figure out Haunted DinoLand.
I don't even think we need to if it goes away. I think we just come up with this new concept now and just... Well, if anybody listening is a graphic designer and wants to offer their services, we'll pay you to do this for us. So
I guess my thinking was like River Country is a defunct area, right? Like my take on the haunted thing is, take something that was, shut down previously and then turn it like, so I don't think it's fair to make Haunted DinoLand until they announce that DinoLand is gone, away. Right? Yeah.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah. So I think we have to have a rule there.
All right. That's fair. I mean, what would you like to see them do with that area? Because I mean, I don't think that area is big enough for Zootopia, but I do think actually there's some extra land behind Dinosaurs. So if they leveled the whole thing, maybe they could do it. But again, though, is that going to stick out like a sore thumb? Because it's not. I mean, it's zoo animals, so I guess it works. But then you're talking about a city. Like it's a city.
Yeah. This is the hard part too. Is we all agreed that there should be something Zootopia put into Animal Kingdom, but.
How do you do it?
Yeah, because really intrinsically Zootopia does not like it's animals, but it's animals in an urban setting.
Exactly.
Whereas Animal Kingdom is not an urban setting. It's a lot of jungle and showing different parts of the world, but the nature part of it. So throwing Zootopia in there, now that I think about it more, it doesn't make sense. Zootopia makes more sense in Hollywood Studios than it does in Animal Kingdom.
I totally agree with that, because like you said, it is about animals, but it's also, about animals living in a city, and the city part just doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, they do have some space though. I mean, I literally just because why not? I just pulled up like just Google Maps here and an overhead view. I mean, if they tore a bunch of this down, there's some room back there where they could, if they wanted to, they could make a pretty nice sized land, but they'd have to tear that whole thing down. And I mean, there's some trees over there. There's some backstage area. I mean, there's a lake behind that, so there's only so much space. But yeah, I mean, there's some room. It's a bigger land than you think it is.
Yeah, and I feel, I almost would want them to, because that's all connected to Asia. Yeah, I would almost want them to expand Asia, or do, because thinking about Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones follows that it's like Jungle Cruise, or in Disneyland, Indiana Jones is themed along with the Jungle Cruise, and it fits in very well with Adventureland, right? Which is Asian, jungle, whatever. Maybe they need to do something I guess they haven't really touched on South America.
I'm just thinking too, they could also the Finding Nemo musical stage is right there too. They could come up with a Zootopia musical to throw in there, not to say that I want the Finding Nemo one to go away, but again, that just kind of sits out of place,
Yeah, it is kind of Finding Nemo is weird because it's, it exists over in the seas in Epcot, and then they have the show in Animal Kingdom, which I've
currently
never
closed, but
I've never been a huge fan of the show personally, but
I think it's a really good show. But I mean, at some point they're going to replace that show, right? I mean, they're not going to have the same show there forever, so at some point they'll replace it now. And if they're going to redo the whole land that's right next to it, maybe they incorporate it.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, again, I just keep going back to, if they were going to redo Dinosaur, the easy thing is just reskin Dinosaur, clone it straight to Indiana Jones, and then all of a sudden, you can do the whole rest of the theming of that area becomes, it's more Asia, right? But then,
that makes sense.
But then that's a whole, Asia suddenly becomes a massive area, but then what else do you do with it, right?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I'm looking at Primeval World from overhead, and it's a bigger space than I remember it occupying. Well, but again, I just don't know. I don't know what you put there
because it's two roller coasters, right?
It's two different. I just forgot in my head that it was two different sides. It's been too long since I've been to Disney now. I've started to forget things. I need to go back. This is killing me. We're not even going to go to Animal Kingdom on our trip that coming up, where we had to choose 3 parks and. Epcot, Magic Kingdom, and of course we have to go to Hollywood Studios. We got to do Rise of the Resistance, and we got to do Mickey and Minnie's. We can't not do those things. So no Animal Kingdom this time around, which kind of stinks. But the next trip we'll go. But
wait, you wouldn't give up Epcot to go to Animal Kingdom?
No, not when there's a festival going on. Okay. I want to tear through that festival, my friend.
All right. Okay. Fair. No, that's fair.
I want to eat all of the things, all of them.
I would swap out the two. I mean, if I really was feeling the need to go to Animal Kingdom, I would give up Epcot.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what if the Ratatouille ride is open though by the time this happens? Would that change your mind to because there's nothing new at Animal Kingdom at the moment?
No, it wouldn't.
Wow.
I would. Ratatouille, I can concede not seeing it right away. I
got you. Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie and Rise of the Resistance, yes, absolutely. I need to see those rides. Ratatouille, I'm curious about it, but again, it just doesn't hit me the same way as some of those other rides. I
gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've said before on the show that Animal Kingdom is my favorite park, but I think it's just that we've stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge our past 2 trips now, and we've done a lot of Animal Kingdom during that time. So it's not that we're burnt out of it. It's just we feel like we want to spend time other places, and of course we're going to go elsewhere. But I mean, we really also just want to go to the festival. We never get to go to festivals because usually the time that we're going, the festivals are not going on. So to go to Flower and Garden when we did the last day of Flower and Garden on a trip a couple of years ago, but there was a lot of stuff that was already like kind of wrapped up. Like this is an opportunity for us to go, like, when a festival's in full swing, we're in for that. We're excited for that.
No,
so
you're right. I guess again, from my point of view is I'm on the other side where we usually go when these festivals are on. So so to me, the festival is like, that's always there. And again, it makes less of an impact to me as, I don't feel like I have to get to EPCOT necessarily. I mean, there's still stuff I want to do at EPCOT, but I feel that, we could flip flop on those parks. And I'll let you know later in the week because my wife listens to these episodes like throughout the week as she's working. She'll come and yell at me if I'm wrong about EPCOT. So I'll let you know. I'll let the Facebook group know if my wife disagrees with.
You're going to get yelled at. Yeah.
What do you mean we're going to Animal Kingdom?
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah.
I think we've
yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So, as usual, if you guys have any questions, comments, you just want to reach out to us, let us know about a trip you're taking, stuff like that. You can always reach us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. It's our de facto way for us to talk to our listeners. We've always had great emails and great conversations with people. If you would rather reach us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. Again, we love talking to our listeners on there, and you can also join the Facebook group, which is the Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. It's a really great group. It's growing really fast, and honestly, I'm still impressed at how cool everyone is in this group. Everyone is super respectful of one another, even when, there's discussion and disagreements and everything. It's just a really good place, I think, for people to just come and talk about Disney. So
I'm just waiting for the person. I'm just waiting to hit the ban button. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. I think that, everybody who joins the group knows that, coming in the door, it's, be cool. That seems to be like the first rule is, don't get worked up and remember that, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, just like on the podcast, we all have our own opinions. So,
but by the way, speaking of emails, Trevor, I don't always respond to emails very quickly, and I apologize to that for those who do send emails, which is why the Facebook group is the best place to get at us. But I'm going to respond to an email right here, right now. Glenn had written us a couple weeks ago. Trevor keeps saying that you guys like getting emails, so here's one. Keep up the good work. One of only 2 podcasts I keep listening to. Greetings from Glenn, our Belgian ambassador.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Our Belgium
you.
ambassador.
That's it's
Glenn also wants us to know that he's not a bot. So just
don't be a bot. If you want to get kicked out of the group, be a bot.
Don't be a bot. But yeah, there you go, Glenn. Thank you for being our Belgium ambassador.
That's so cool that,
yes.
Again, I say all the way over in Belgium. I know, Glenn, you're like, I'm in Belgium. That's not that far for me, but it's still mind blowing that, I'm here in Canada. Tom is, in the United States, and there's somebody in Belgium listening to us. Like that's crazy.
I always find that amazing because, like, again, we've said this many times in the show, like, we started this whole thing not thinking that this was necessary. I don't want to say we didn't think it was going to go anywhere, but like we definitely never had in our minds that we'd be like listened to in like 20 different countries, and we'd be like top chart, like we're top 100 in Brazil, which is crazy to me. If you guys are listening from Brazil, reach out because we apparently have a lot of listeners in Brazil, and then we got Belgium, we got a lot of listeners in the UK. I mean, it's just cool. It's not something we expected ever, and it's just it blows my mind all the time that any of you are listening to this and are that an ocean away from me. It's just it's mind blowing, and it's just very cool. And so and I think everybody knows how much we appreciate every single one of you that listen to this. So
of course, yeah.
that's my sappy part for the day.
There we go. That's your heartfelt moment from.
That's my heartfelt moment for the episode. So, but yeah, seriously, thank you guys, and thank you for those that emailed too. And Tanya, you sent me your trip report for January 2021. I haven't read it yet, but I will. I promise. So
yeah, and yeah, that's the thing is, we get your guys' emails, and some of them we'll respond back. Some of them we want to talk about on the show, if some of them turn into listener questions. So it's it's all good.
And this is not we all have day jobs. This is not our full-time gig, and so it's hard to keep up with this stuff sometimes. But we do try our best. So
yeah, exactly. And so. I guess continuing on with other ways you can get a hold of, or you can, interact with us. We do have a YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. Anytime we do live streams, you'll see that. Again, we know we haven't done one since, we haven't done a live stream since October, but I did a quick Facebook video, which is on there, but we are going to try and get better at that stuff going into this year. Again, just talking about how, we're all busy and everything is, we're trying to figure out how to make it work with our home and work lives and everything. But, hopefully we'll have more YouTube content for you guys coming up in the year here. So keep an eye out.
It's hard to do live shows too, because if you want to watch live, we have to do it at a time that everybody's going to be able to watch it live.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's a little bit more logistics there than a pre-recorded podcast.
For sure. Sorry, continue. We're going off on all sorts of crazy tangents, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's one of those days.
This is how people listen to, that's how we get people to listen to the end of the show, is we talk about random stuff at the end. So
yeah. And going back to non-random, if you want to find us on Instagram, you can find us as Welcome Home Pics. So, we're trying to cover as many social media platforms as we can. So if, you want to follow us on Instagram, make sure you do so. And then last but not least, if you guys listen to us enough that you want some merchandise, make sure you go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can pick up t-shirts, masks, mugs, all kinds of fun stuff with the podcast logo on there. And obviously that goes towards, helping us continue to run the podcast. And as usual, if you guys have found us on iTunes or any other service, we love seeing the reviews. It's always great to read, the feedback that we get, the good and the bad. We appreciate both because, it keeps us, it keeps us, grounded for sure. So,
lately they've all been good. So
yeah.
All of a sudden people don't hate us as much as they used to. So that's great news.
Yeah. But again, it's good because it doesn't just help us. It helps other people find the podcast.
Yeah, I can't stress to you all how important iTunes reviews are to us and for growing the show. So please, if you haven't done that yet, please do it. We appreciate it. Take some time out to do it if you're able to. I know not everybody uses Apple to listen to podcasts. So wherever you can give a review, if you can give us a review, it helps us immensely. So please do it.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any place you can find podcasts. You can find us. Just, look for the one that says Welcome Home and then also says DVC on there. I think we show up top results most of the time now. So just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult with a DVC representative or Disney cast member for any of the things we talked about today. Big thank you, as always, to our friends over at DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode. Please check them out if you want to rent out your points, or if you want to, stay at a really nice resort at a much cheaper rate. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no